excited, man. Excited. France. Mihail. Oh my god, that's the guy. Look at him. Yeah, he was paid handsomely, apparently. Being watched. Who's watching? Oh, jeez. Yeah, he's got some ghosts in his own past. He really got paid. Okay, interesting that they're catching up. I mean, I saw the other partner a few episodes ago. He wasn't doing great. But he did say his partner, Mihail, he was the one who kind of led the whole operation, right? And he was the one who really got paid handsomely. I've seen it. He's living it up. But I'm sure something is about to shake it all up. Happy holidays indeed. He knows about Dr. Tenma. He knows about her as well. Oh. Yeah, that was inevitable. The legend of the Asian man. Our Dr. Tenma.
10年前、ドクター・テンマが手術で命を救った少年の名は
ヨハン。
赤ん坊が組織のリーダーに祭り上げようとした青年の名も
I love the 5 o'clock shadow or the stubble. Really adds a bit of character. Can you rest easy out here? Ooh. Whoa. Why do they look just like... Oh, yeah, it's the Fortners. Whoa. Yeah, that's right. You took those 2 lives. Quite a bit. Oh, look at this. Beautiful zoom in. Dolly zoom. Corrupt cops, okay. That was clear. Maura. So Roberto, eh? Oh, so there was no direct contact. Okay, he's going to be home by himself. Oh. Yeah. Just as things are looking good, I'm sure it's about to be flipped upside down for him.
ロベルト、探偵さんから連絡ないかい？もう来る時間なんだが。ロベルト。ロベルト。
Whoa!
お前は
Nina! She didn't kill him.
あなたが殺したフォルトナー夫妻の娘よ。
I love the
お前がやっ
fit.
たのか？
No.
ロベルト。
その人をやったのはあなたのボディーガードのロベルトよ。
He seemed
ロベルト。
interesting.
私、隣の家からすべて見てたわ。このバッグは持っていくわ。あなたはここに残りたいならそうすればいい。信頼できる人間なんてものがあなたにいるならね。
Look at Nina in France.
ミュラーさん。
Oh, beautiful, beautiful animation. Look at this. Is he going to survive this? I don't know.
早く車を出して。早く。
My goodness, look at this. But the family's going to come back, right? Is Roberto here to take care of loose ends?
隣の家からずっと俺の様子を見ていたんだろ？俺をどうするつもりだ？
Really, bro?
心の底から憎んでる。殺してしまいたいほどね。
俺は脅されてやったんだ。あんたの両親をやらなければ麻薬の横流しをしていたことをバラすと。
Johan's got his connections.
俺はメスナーと組んで仕方なかったん
I
だ
mean,
よ。
there's always a choice, but
仕方なかった。仕方なかった。止めなさい。車を止めなさい。
oh, she's gonna take him. She's gonna take him to the edge.
素敵な人たちだった。本当に素敵な。
And to save yourself, you kill 2 people, 3 people.
私が本当の娘じゃないのに、父と母は私のことを本当
So
に
she found out, or they told her?
本当に
Because I remember they decided to
やめ
not
て
tell her, right?
やめてくれ。
なのにあなたみたいなクズに殺された。
Okay. That should get Nina a bit on edge now.
バーバラ、フリッツ。
何よ、何言ってるのよ。何なのよ。
殺されるっていうのはこういうことだったのか。
That's right.
フリッツがあの子が俺のことを初めて呼んでくれたんだ。お父さんってなくしたくない。
Kind of looks like Tarantino, doesn't it?
なくしたくないものができたんだ。
Mm.
妙なことになってきたんですよ。
妙なこと？
ええ、メスナー氏はすでにジャンキー状態で組織のごたごたに巻き込まれる存在ではなかった。もう一つ、犯人はフランクフルトの組織関係者ではなくてデュッセルドルフの。
デュッセルドル
Oh.
いや、この先はお会いした時に詳しく。
犯人、ロベルト、誰だ。これどういう意味かわかる？
もしもし。
バッグを返してほしいんですが、
If you don't bring it back, I'll kill them.
奥さんとフリッツは今私のそばでくつろいでますよ。
なんだっておい。銃を貸してくれないか。
その銃、至近距離でないと使えないわ。弾は4発しかないし。
十分だ。これでも元刑事だからな。俺に死なれたら真相を警察に話してもらえなくなるからだろ。
そう。
You better not die.
私は隣の空き家からあなたの援護する。
Damn, go Nina. I think it might be the end of the line for Mihail.
今彼の警備会社からお仲間がいらしてる。
Oh,
留守中に何かあったみたい。
仲間？さあ。
結構これで本当に何もなかったことになります。今日は平和な一日だった。これからもね。
nice. There's some beautiful animation in this anime.
ニナ。
美しい娘でしたね。
ニナをどうしたんだ。
丁重にもてなしています。
Crap.
ある方にとって大切なゲストですから。
ある方？
その青年の名もヨハンなんです。
ヨハン何者なんだヨハンってお前たち一体何者なんだ。
They kind of wanted him out there so
みん
Nina
なをどうするつ
or,
もりだ。
or Tenma perhaps go after him.
殺す気か。
Nina specifically, I suppose, in this
お
case.
幸せに。
If you can. He's always going to have that guilt on his mind.
実にいい目だ。
Yeah, they do.
似ている。
ヨハンにはいつ会えるの？ヨハンに会わせてくれるって言うからおとなしくついてきたのよ。
確かに彼もあなたに会いたがっている。ミュンヘンで幸せに暮らしていますよ。
ミュンヘン？
本当にいい目をしている。実に残念だ。
Oh god, she's caught up in something.
ドクター天魔か。
No, cliffhanger. But of course, she's not going to die. It's him, isn't it? Mihail, yeah.
なんで来たの？
言っただろう。これでも俺は元刑事だって。
Oh! Was she going to do it?
明日フリッツと
Oh, I think he took.
釣りに
I think he got hit.
約束してるんだ。晴れるといいな。
It really felt like this is going to be his ending. Look at this. Looks like it is going to be sunny. Oh, yeah.
と晴れるわ。
Okay, let's get into it. Yeah, I mean, right at the end there, it kind of leaves a few things open-ended, doesn't it? First of all, Mihail, I mean, it's not really that open-ended. Realistically speaking, he is going to pass on, right? It looks like he is going to die. And I mean, it's really quite a beautiful ending as well. Maybe you could even call it bittersweet, because by the end of it, there is perhaps a sense of redemption for Mihail, right? For at least half of this episode, I had this sense of, oh God, he just does not deserve any of this, right? Robbing the happiness of one family to then getting the chance to live like a king, right? And finding this really loving wife. And then, of course, a kid that maybe didn't really take to you at first. And that's only natural, but he does end up considering him a father, right? He calls him dad on multiple occasions. And, even that moment is kind of nice, right? I found myself really quite surprised that I was happy for him, as Fritz actually does call him dad. He's saying goodbye. And yeah, he called him dad. And then, of course, later as he returns, they're talking about how he wants to go fishing with daddy. So yeah. There is a sense of redemption. There is a sense of humanizing Mihail, right? It managed it because I certainly did not like this man one bit. And the thing is, up until this episode, Mihail and then Mesner as well, right? The late Mesner, who was taken care of by Roberto, right? Who is also essentially taking care of, or he thought that he's about to take care of Nina, of Anna. And then next on his list is Dr. Tenma. So he's an interesting fellow, especially if, his association with Johan is legitimate, right? That's again kind of up in the air. It's up for, discussion, I suppose, because it wouldn't be the first time an organization has kind of used the name of Johan, the influence of Johan, or taken it upon themselves to have Johan as their figurehead, right? A leader for them. But he also seems to have a bit of information about Johan as well, right? And I don't know, to me, it was really quite convincing. The way he explained it, yeah, he lives in Munich. I don't know, immediate thought was, okay, this man is with Johan, right? But if indeed that is the case, there is a bit of a disconnect, right? Because there's no chance in hell, no chance that Johan ever told him to go after Anna. Not to just go after her, to kill her. He walks out of there fully expecting his men to do the business. But of course, the homie Mihail shows up, right? He could not allow it. He just could not be happy. So yeah, like I said, there is certainly a case for redemption in this episode for him. But I do wonder how exactly Mikhail was able to track them down to that exact place in just the exact time, in just the right time. So sure, a bit of it is a little bit, I don't know, cliche that he shows up right in the exact moment in this unknown location, right as Nina or Anna is about to be gunned down and taken care of, right? Now, I think this is the distinction. If indeed this Roberto, the man has like no life in his eyes. Those eyes are so dead. This man is clearly really, really quite good at his job, right? And then, from that angle, you can see how Johan might have use for this man. So I don't find it that far-fetched that indeed this man is associated with Johan in some capacity, right? That Johan does kind of use him from time to time, perhaps. Because again, that's not a new thing, right? Johan is all about using people and using their talents, right? To further his own cause, right? Having others do the things for him. But yeah, it appears that he's living in Munich at the moment. I mean, Nina knows about Munich at this point, and I'll have to look it up to see how close Munich might be to the city Tenma is in at the moment. Freihem, right? Or at least close to it. So yeah, even if Roberto is quite the asset for Johan, there's this side of him that Johan maybe doesn't know about, right? Because he's out here openly trying to take out Anna. Right? He's out here openly trying to take out Dr. Tenma next, right? He's certainly, I don't know, he's going after loose ends and he's going after people that that mean a lot to Johan, Dr. Tenma, and Anna. So, Roberto is really quite an interesting one as far as the story goes from this point on. And it also kind of depends on, how often I'll be seeing Roberto. But yeah, what's the angle here for Roberto, right? Going after Anna, going after Dr. Tenma. Is there a possibility that this Roberto believes that maybe by getting rid of these really close attachments, people that mean quite a bit to Johan, maybe he thinks he can really truly unleash Johan, free Johan somehow in some capacity, right? It's possible, right? But the main thing is that Roberto is yet another really interesting character introduced into the ensemble cast, right? Man, that guy is really quite creepy, isn't he? And the thing is, you just look at him, right? I mean, right from the beginning of the episode, I'm looking at this character and I'm just kind of making faces at him. I'm just kind of trying to study him, right? It was clear then that there's something really off about this man, about this bodyguard who's part of that syndicate from Dusseldorf, right? Now, this whole thing about Dusseldorf and, the investigator or the detective who gets gunned down as well by Roberto, sorry. It's not really the most German sounding name, but, let's not forget there's names like Mario Gomez from the German national team, once upon a time at least. But going back to Nina and, that off-screen gunshot and potentially shooting and killing that man, isn't it interesting that the first potential kill, even though, yes, of course, all that time ago, she does shoot Johan in the head. But, that's as a child, right? And under a lot of really complex stress for someone of that age. But now she's an adult, a young adult. So this might have been her actual first kill. But it's essentially established as an off-screen kill, right? So that could be interesting. There's even this potential of her hesitating maybe, and that's the reason Mihail or Muller gets shot or takes that shot, right? But she still ends up kind of, shooting the guy anyways after she hesitates, right? This is just, of course, speculation because it's all happening off screen. But yeah, the thing I like here is the attention to detail. The gun, again, sorry, you'll have to excuse me. I don't know the name of the gun, the small one, right? The one I said is clearly kind of handpicked for Nina, right? For maximum effectiveness, essentially, out in the field. It's meant to have 4 bullets and it's meant to be a close range gun, right? So the last person was essentially maybe a bit too far from Mihail, right? And that's the one that ends up kind of still having a bit of life in him to kind of put up his gun and point it at them. But yeah, if indeed she does end up killing him, isn't it crazy that her first kill is for the man who murdered her parents? How about that? How about that? And of course, earlier she did have a chance to actually, really dig in, really have her revenge, and shoot him. And I feel that at one point she might have been close. And I think that Mikhail kind of showing that fear of losing, of losing something that he's found, something that means so much to him. Him legitimately being so afraid and full of terror in that moment and realizing, so this is how it feels to be on the opposite end. This is how it feels to be killed. This is the fear, right? I felt that in that moment, he actually kind of understood the immense pain and fear he caused in that moment, by gunning down Nina's parents, and the amount of just guilt and remorse he must be feeling for doing that to this young girl, right? She makes the choice to not shoot him because I believe she didn't want to break up another family. She's been watching them and she saw that indeed they do have a bond, right? That it is a nice family. So maybe it's more so about not taking him away from them, right? Even though I think Barbara and the kid would have been fine either way. I think, I'm guessing essentially that money would have gone to them or to Barbara. But again, that's just that's superficial stuff. I'm speaking of the emotional impact of it. Of course, it would have affected her. But yeah, it looks like he ends up dying by the end of it anyways. Ooh, also, let's not forget that once again, Nina's eyes are noticed on multiple occasions by Roberto, right? And he says something like, "Oh, it's a shame, you have such beautiful eyes, right? These are really similar eyes to Johan, right?" And then, a few episodes ago, it was the baby who really noticed Nina's eyes and, the fury in her eyes specifically, right? The baby actually felt afraid. The little homie pissed himself, didn't he? So there is something there, right? It's not new. I've seen it for some time now. There is something there in Nina as well. And also, I'm beginning to realize that maybe I shouldn't have taken everything Messner said. I shouldn't have taken his word for everything he said, right? It makes a lot of sense that he pinned everything on Mihail, on Mueller, right? He had every reason to pin it on him as Tenma is kind of grilling him about that. So he said, "Oh, no, it wasn't me. It was all Mihail. He got it set up." This is the first time I find out that they were actually blackmailed into doing this. And listen, he's talking about how they had no choice, right? And that they were cornered. And this is the only thing they could have done. And essentially he confirms that they both gunned down, the parents and Maura, right? It wasn't just Mihail. So yeah, I shouldn't have believed everything Messner was saying to Tenma. But going back to that concept of him not having a choice or them not having a choice, there's always a choice, right? And Nina showed them, or showed him specifically at least, or that she was able to kind of make that choice by sparing Mihail. And also, I've got to say, it's a fantastic episode from a production standpoint, isn't it? It's got beautiful camera movement, really dynamic camera movement, really kind of aiding that sense of tension, building that sense of tension, that sense of paranoia. I mean, there's that one moment on the staircase, right? There's actually a lot of really cool moments of the dolly zoom, just beautiful dynamic camera movements, right? I really enjoyed the nightmare sequence. He's seeing the ghosts of the Fortners. And my God, at one point the camera's right up in his face. Right up in his face, right? In Mihail's face. Ooh, that was legitimately unsettling, right? To see him like that. So yeah, he certainly had ghosts in his past. And it's not as if he was completely able to just move on from it, right? It's something that really impacted him. Listen, I don't want to say that I've kind of forgiven this man for his actions or anything, but there is this notion of humanizing him a bit in this episode, right? That he does struggle with the choice he made. It was certainly the wrong choice, a self-serving one, quite a disgusting choice at that, right? Taking the lives of all those people to protect himself. But one more thing about Roberto. And this notion of him openly telling Nina or Anna especially in front of all of these henchmen as well, that, Johann is happily living in Munich. It's not really Johann's style to be telling people about his exact location, right? So there is something about that as well. I think maybe it's not entirely true that he is in Munich. Maybe it is something he just said, right? Does he truly know Johann's exact location? But yeah, let's keep an eye on Roberto from this point on. Really, really quite a fascinating new character introduced here. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one. Really enjoyable episode. And if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access, or perhaps even timer-based full length or full opacity, consider checking out the Patreon page and potentially supporting the channel. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. There's also links to social media, things like Twitter and Instagram, if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 22. Until then, take it easy.